Welcome everyone to the video. Welcome to the channel. This is coming out later in the day. I did film it and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all yesterday, which is Friday. Today's actually Saturday, the day I'm going to release it. And because there was just too many breaks, I had too many interruptions. I felt rushed and I didn't like the video at all. So I thought I'd do it today where I have a little more time, a little more quiet, a little more serene. I've done some sourcing this morning, so we got the retail therapy out of the way. Had a little breakfast sandwich. It's about midday right now, Saturday. But yeah, we're redoing everything. We're gonna redo everything, and so I'm gonna be discussing briefly because I can't talk about it. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I got an email from eBay that I'm gonna be accepting their offer, and also too we will be addressing some of the reselling more geared towards live reselling. I wouldn't necessarily say drama, more kind of, just issues that are occurring in reselling YouTube space, not reselling in general. There's a lot of resellers that are not on social media at all. Actually, there's quite a bit. But, the select few that you hear about the most are the ones that have a YouTube following. So is YouTube reselling news, reselling issues, drama, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And I'll touch on briefly what I originally was going to talk about for this video. I had written some notes and everything down, but I got an email from eBay that I want to discuss, and I also want to discuss what's going on in the social media space when it comes to reselling. And we'll do what's sold. We're just going to do a few what's sold, just because I'm probably going to do a little more talking in this video. And so what are we going to have, which I already had, but we're going to have some more today, is the Whistle Pig Piggyback. This is a 100% rye whiskey. This is 100% made with rye. Now, typically that is not the case with American whiskey or with, rye. I'm trying to think of a place that maybe always does 100% rye, but I can't. Mostly rye is kind of, in the mash bill, and the mash bill is the grains that make up the whiskey. And typically, it's not a bourbon. This is a whiskey, American whiskey. It's not a bourbon because there's no corn in this. It has to be, if I'm not mistaken, in order for it to be called a bourbon, it has to be at least 51% corn. And this is not. There's no corn in this. Rye. What is rye? Well, rye gives you the spiciness, the bite, the little bit of bitterness to it. And not spicy like heat jalapeno spice. It's more kind of peppery, kind of spice cabinety type of spice. There will be heat attached to this. There will be some heat because we got almost 100 proof. It's 96.56 proof. So we're talking 48.28% alcohol. And originally in the video I made, I was like, I haven't tried this one in a while, so I don't know what it tastes like really anymore. But because I tried it yesterday, I'll give you my tasting notes as I'm sipping. I'm not gonna pour too much today. Just about that much. And with these types of glasses, I can kind of judge, better the pour. Sometimes in other glasses, like rocks glasses, it's kind of hard to to judge how much you're pouring, and you can't over pour. You don't want to over pour. You don't want to over pour. Just want to enjoy it, right? Aerate it a little bit. Yeah. So very sweet on the nose. Not much smoke. Checking my nose, make sure my nose around my face. And I thought you joined me in the coffee shop today. We have the bar. I'm trying to figure out where to point. We have the bartender set up over there. The bartender for the coffee bar, that is. I guess it also kind of looks like a bar scene as well too. But he'll probably be covered with the pictures when I pop them up on the what sold. But really nice. It's a very nice, very woody. Well, it doesn't smell smoky. Lots of sweets, lots of like spice cabinet. Like you put all your spices in a spice cabinet. There's always an aroma that comes out of it when you open it. That's what you get out of this. But on the taste, it's very woody. To me, it's very woody, very much like you're cutting wood for a fire. You're out camping and you get your wood and you're splitting your wood. That's the smell I get, taste I get. Yeah, very sweet. Yeah, first punch of sweetness, then you get the wood, you get the heat, and ryes do typically those that are heavily rye, especially 100% rye, typically tend to be a bit more. They, for me at least, they tend to be a lot hotter than typically. I can have something with a very high proof, but yet not be as hot as a rye whiskey is, in my opinion. It probably just for me, I'm thinking it just has to go down to that peppery type of pepperiness that rye brings. But a very good, very good. It's very mellow on the back end. So as it's going down, you get hit with the flavors right up in front, and you get the heat right up in front. And as it's going down, you get the warming sensation, and then the flavor just kind of really dissipates. So it's very light on flavor, but it's still a very good. And I really enjoy any whiskey that really brings that woody flavor, because back in the day, I was a huge, big into camping, backpacking, spent many times up in the mountains here in California. And it just takes me back. It takes me back to that. It's a memory, the memory. It takes me back to that time in my life. And I enjoy that time of my life. And I enjoy my time in my life now. It was just a part of my life that I do enjoy, and these types of whiskeys take me back to that. Okay, really cool. Whistle Pig, Piggyback, 100% rye whiskey, aged 6 years. All right, let's jump into the what sold. And I didn't write anything down. I still didn't write anything down, so I'm gonna go off my phone on this. Uh, so we got a really cool. This is just just a little letter holder or card holder. The hands are actually a clip. Now this one went for $30.64 on the shipping when it had a poly bag. But this really could have gone for quite a bit more, probably double, more in the $60 to $70 range, depending upon the condition. Now, the picture here, the main picture, doesn't really show you that, there was considerable amount of rust, and like it's been outside, like it's been in moisture. And the inside of it was really, it showed. And the spring was incredibly rusted and probably needs to be replaced. But this is an 1889, as you can see, an antique piece that kind of carried it to a $30 range type of piece. And really nice. I took pictures all the way around. I showed all the issues with it. Should have gone for more had it been in better condition. Has a nice mother of pearl inlay, which mother of pearl comes from shells. Brass, just a really nice piece. And it sold for $30, and it sold within 24 hours. So really cool. Definitely something to keep your eye out for. Now, the next one here, I've been selling these off. I got a whole bunch of these, just novelty license plates. There are a bunch of them. They're older. They're vintage. I didn't put it in the title, but they are. And I got a bunch of them from all kinds of different countries, different states, and I threw them in a big old bundle. Typically, they're going for right around $10. This one sold for $14. And the shipping, which is what I wanted to discuss with you, or why I even bring it up, because in my opinion, I wouldn't necessarily advise anybody to pick these up, to buy these. I would say, just leave them behind. They're not really worth it. But if you're bundling, definitely throw it in there. It adds an extra $10 more here to your profit, each one. And people really don't see value in these things, but there is some value to these. But this one here was interesting because this is the only one I messed up on when it comes to the shipping. And I made a lot more on this than the $14.76 for what it sold for. The shipping was $23.85. And what I did was I messed up on the dimension for some bizarre reason. I put 23 in the length and 12 as the width, and then 10 was my standard. I usually put 12, 10, 10 on all the dimensions. It will not, it could knock off some change, when you go down to like a 6x6x6 box or a 975 box. But it's like just some change. It's not really much that goes into, potential, in the profit that I make on shipping to help pay for shipping supplies. But, this one really made a lot of profit on it, and I messed up. I messed up, and the person did not ask for a refund. They bought it. They spent like 30, close to probably no, 30, 40, 40-ish something. What was the order total on this? Oh, man, it's not on here. This is the picture. I thought it was the what were we talking about? Like 30, 41, 42, somewhere around the $45 range, total for this license plate is what they paid in total. So somebody really wanted this and bought it and paid up for it. But my mistake, they didn't ask for a refund. I do get the occasional, hey, why is the shipping so high on this? And I'll go in there and check. And then I have found some items where I did mess up on the shipping and I just had to adjust it. But this one they didn't ask for anything. So what I did was I went ahead and I got priority mail on it, kind of make it worth the while. I got priority mail. And I also make sure to really, really wrap it so it was nicely wrapped, kind of showcase why, the shipping was so high. But they got it and everything's all good. So really cool. Knock on wood, of course. Knock on wood. So definitely, not really something I would recommend everybody picking up. But if you're bundling a bunch of items, throw it on top. If it doesn't include much, if it doesn't increase the overall cost of the bundle, throw it in. We're still making money on it. Vintage. This is, Dixie cups, $25. Oh, the license plate went in a padded poly bag. Priority though. $7.16 what they paid in shipping. This went in a 1286 box. But this vintage stuff vintage disposables can be really good. You definitely have to look it up just to make sure. But these vintage Dixie cups, these were sitting inside of Savers. I picked these up at a Savers. Nobody was buying them. They were just sitting there on the shelf. We had gone in later in the day and still found them, and there was still money to be made there. And they sold in about a couple of days. Somebody bought these. They even left positive feedback saying nothing beats the vintage Dixie cups. And I remember using these as a kid. We used to use them all the time. My parents would buy them. They would be there on the shelf in a little pop-up stand. And we went through those things all the time. We would use one for mouthwash, throw it away, one to rinse, throw it away. What? It went through. We didn't think of how much it cost to buy them. But if someone's spending $25 on them, maybe they'll be a little, a little more, day. You use one cup and that's the cup you use for the day. Put your name on it. So really cool. Vintage Dixie cups, disposable stuff, vintage things. You got to look them up. Vintage clothing does really well. But not all vintage clothing does really well. Vintage bathroom stuff. Some of it does really well. Some of it just doesn't. But vintage Dixie cups do well. They do resell very well. They got to be brand new though. They got to be brand new. Don't be buying used ones or open box. Open box if there's nothing used on the inside. But then again, you want to count I think that was a 300 count. You want to count 300 of them out? You want to spend the time in doing that? So I'm showing you this keyboard, which sold for $41.14, $7.28 is what they paid in shipping on this one. This one at 2012 6 box. This is just a really neat keyboard. It's for learning. That's what the color, why it's, so colorful. It's to help teach typing. And funny thing about typing is the original keyboards they weren't even keyboards. They were on typewriters, I guess. They were all in alphabetical order. And what happened was people were typing so fast that machines of that era, when it first started coming out, not keyboards, but typing machines, when they were coming out, people were typing so fast, they were breaking the machines. The machines couldn't keep up. So that's why they decided to rearrange the keys as they did to slow down the typing. Nowadays, that wouldn't be a problem, but back then it was an issue. That's why the keys were all weird. So, which is why people need to learn how to type. It was just a really cool keyboard. I really liked it. It was nice, colorful. I thought my wife was gonna keep it for a moment, but she chose not to. She just didn't like the feel of the keys, but it's just a traditional style keyboard. USB, wired keyboards still do incredibly well, even though a lot of people like wireless. No one likes to see all the wires everywhere, but wired keyboards still do incredibly well, and they're easy to test. They're going to power on when you plug them in. You don't need to find a dongle for it, so you don't need to find batteries or chargers for it. But they still do really well. There are certain ones that do better than others. Don't just go pick up any old keyboard and think it's going to sell. This is not a Logitech. It's not a Microsoft. This is just a cool looking keyboard, and it has a purpose. There's a purpose for this keyboard. So Keyright is the actual brand for it. Now, this one here, we're going to stop and talk about just a little bit because this is a cloisonne piece, and it's an egg, obviously, with a flower on top. $20.53 is what it sold for. $6.84 what they paid in shipping. And this one here went in a 6x6x6 box. Now, I've seen people talk about cloisonne. Like, oh, look out for cloisonne. Oh, that's a great cloisonne piece. Look at its cloisonne here and there. But not everything they're picking up is actual cloisonne. It can look like cloisonne, but it's not. Cloisonne kind of has that paint by numbers look to me. But if you look at the actual, let me use my mouse here. The actual gold here, I don't know if it comes through on the pictures, but it's an actual, like, almost, it is metal, almost like a metal wire that is kind of outlining all this here. You see where my mouse is going there. That's actual metal wire. So it is raised. So cloisonne, they take a metal, and back in the day, it was either gold, silver, or copper. Nowadays, it could be any kind of metal. They take a metal and they fuse it to another piece, and like an egg in this instance, it's an egg, it's a metal egg. They fuse it to that, and then it is colored in with enamel. Well, what's the enamel? What is enamel? And I always believe that you should kind of know what you're selling and kind of know about it. It'll help you. It'll help you sell it, maybe help you find keywords or create a good description or title. But enamel is essentially glass. Again, we're going back to glass. It is a glass turned into a powder form. It's then colored and then painted in, and then you fuse it. How do you fuse it? You just melt it in high heat. And so cloisonne has the metal outline. It's not painted. Yeah, maybe the metal can be painted, but it is metal. It's not a painted out, like when you outline something with color. It's not that. That's not cloisonne. Cloisonne is, has a metal wire forming the shape, and then it's colored in with enamel. So that is cloisonne. There are many that look like cloisonne, but they're not. So just a little bit there. And clothing is really cool. I mean, you find some of the vintage stuff. Wow, it can go for quite a bit. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit in picking out cloisonne pieces, because you can, someone that knows what they're doing, knows what they're talking about, they buy it from you, they get it, and they're like, hey, this is not cloisonne. They can, send it back, and you could get a defect on your account in regards to that. So just something to be aware about. This did not come with a base. That's a ring that I had that I kind of put it on top of, which I sold that ring for $15. Little mother of pearl ring that's underneath there. Okay, now this is a very, very interesting thing, because I did not know it was worth anything more than maybe $40, $50, $60. I typically will pick up what do you call it, security or law enforcement belts. And this one was in really bad shape, but I threw it in a big old bundle. Typically, I would not have picked it up, but it was a big old bundle from the flea market. So I just threw it in, like, why not? We'll just throw it in there. Someone might want it. After I looked up the name, and the key here is the George F. Cake. What did it sell for? $131.12. $10.26 is what they paid in shipping. It's one of my hat boxes, $9.75 box. So George F. Cake is what you want to look for. The security, law enforcement stuff from George F. Cake does incredibly well. There were no belts listed. Timing listing this, there were no belts. And so I didn't really know what it should go for. And in my opinion, based on what other pieces sold, this is like $300 to $400. However, this belt that I have is not in wearable shape. It's not usable, in my opinion. You can't see it, but underneath, and I took pictures of everything, underneath the leather is really deteriorating. And which is why I went for, you know, the $131 as opposed to 200, 300, or $400. If this was in wearable condition, you could have probably got that much, maybe more, just because there have been no belts that I can tell that have come up for sale. If you know of any that have, let me know, put in the comments. But as far as I know, this is the only belt that has been out there. And it was really cool. I wish it was in better shape. Luckily, the name was still there. I was able to read the name. And someone bought it. Someone ended up paying for it. It's probably more of a collector's piece, a collector's item, as opposed to an actual working belt. Maybe they can restore it. I'm not familiar with restoring leather. Maybe it can be restored. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they can restore pretty much anything. And if they can restore books and all those stuff, they could probably restore this. The brass was in great condition. It was just the leather that was bad. Somebody either wore this all the time, and maybe it sat out in the garage, moisture and everything attacked it, heat attacked it, and you know, it finally got to my hands, and I was able to sell it for $131. I mean, I made great money on it. I made great profit on this in this piece, but you know, you could have gotten more had it been in better shape. But the key is George F. Cake. That's what you want to look for. I generally will always pick up law enforcement, security stuff, hunting stuff like this, because it does really well. But obviously, the cost, what you're paying for it, has to be right. You can't be paying, you know, if this had been just a generic one, you can't pay, you know, maybe 15. You probably pay $10, 15, 20. Now you're kind of pushing it. You know, because they generally will settle right around $40-ish. They could go for more. But this one did. So George F. Cake, keep your eye out for it. And then this is the last piece here. This is just a little cocktail set, little cocktail forks, just a 2-prong forks. Nothing fancy, nothing, you know, other than that's in a form of banana. And I thought it was cool, and I thought I could sell it, and I did. $15 and 68 cents, and they paid, oh man, what are they paying shipping? I didn't, hold on. That was on my other screenshot. I think it was the same as here it is, $6.84 is what they paid in shipping on this one. And this did go, I did put this in a box. I felt I didn't want anything to happen to it. It was going across country, so I was like, I don't want it to get too damaged there. So I did put it in a box, and a 6x6x6 box, but just a really cool, you know, just a cool, fun, outdoor, probably, in my opinion, this would more, and that's why I put picnic decor. In my opinion, you'll probably see this out at a picnic, you know, just a bright, vibrant, you know, springtime colors, in my opinion. But really cool. And, you know, I knew I could sell it. It's just one of those pieces where I'm looking at it. There's nothing, there's no name brand, no nothing. So it's like, can I sell it or can I not sell it? And sure enough, it sold. Really cool. And that's it. That's the end of the what sold. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cut it here. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to cut it really quick so I know where, for those that don't know, just the what sold part is, I put it on on another channel called Gem Shorts. It's just what sold, nothing fancy. It's just the ending of this segment. Then the actual podcast goes Saturdays on my main channel, Gem Flipper. But I did create an actual podcast channel, which is the Reseller, you know, the Poor Reseller's Almanac, that has its own channel, which I do upload there like Monday or Tuesday when I remember. Sometimes I forget. So I'll upload it there as well too, just to kind of, I just wanted to secure like that name, that channel name. And so I drop it there as well. But this is on the main channel. If you watch on the main channel, it's the same exact thing on the other channel.
Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by hitting the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting my little round icon down below. It really does help us out here. Also, you'll find a couple of selections. You'll see a playlist of videos to watch and my most recent video that I did upload.